when you synchronize the heart and the brain, you evoke this release of this particular peptide that's attached on a cellular level, and it then returned back through the blood, out through the urine, through the breath, expelled from the body, and it's no longer going to transmute into a physical ailment. These are part of the power that you have with this high ancient soft technology that you have as a physical body. Everything has a way to acclimate to a higher frequency. It's self-regulating. The rippling effects, the power that you hold within you, realized in the sound, in the imagery, in the evoking feeling. Welcome, you beautiful beings. Welcome to the consciousness of the way. My divine, delectable co-host, High Priestess Jade.
Howdy doody.
Hello, dear friend.
Hello, dear friend.
And I am your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master San Qing. How poetic, how descriptive, how simple yet concise, laser focus, concentrated, the very words that describe the power that is within you. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
The sound is the answer. We did a great podcast the other day, and we started our direct communication with Lao-Tzu. So, questions are coming in. We'll start to answer those as we continue, getting these incredible insights. Because, there's nothing more powerful than accessing that direct source, and he's one of our many teachers, profound. And we can have many others on. But let's start with Lao-Tzu. A lot of people were, surprised with the amplitude of energy. What were they feeling? Love. What were they feeling? They were just grateful, because when his presence enters a space, it's undeniable. And that's the power of getting true source information, and more so just, interacting with an immortal, profound things.
And I think that's the most important thing is that feeling. People were like, what am I feeling? And it doesn't matter. The fact that you're feeling it, you're registering it, you're validating it for yourself within your heart, within, the energy around you, within your whole body. That feeling, that's when you know, okay, I'm getting the real deal.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have to discern and ascertain the feeling. If I put your hand under a hammer, I'm sure you don't want that feeling.
No,
right?
Not that feeling.
So there is clearly a resonation of that frequency that is of a higher nature that you can validate, not a hammer to your kneecaps or something of that nature. That's not going to be the
No.
feeling you're looking for.
But just the fact that they were able to watch something and kind of be a part of it and maybe have an experience that they haven't had before in that type of spiritual connection. So incredibly cool.
Yeah. Well, what people noticed the most was the enveloping of his energy as he entered, myself as a vehicle. And there was such a significant shift from my personality to something of higher frequency, as it should be. You're dealing with an eternal immortal. And so it's quite significant.
Absolutely.
But, talking more about transformations is like understanding those inner workings, the way things are, the formations that are created in your reality that are so powerful and reflected on the symbolism that comes with you. So more detailed is the magic, the architecture of the magic, and how people transmute that into their reality. And, I was talking about this earlier today. Someone's like, Sifu, what is magic? I said, well, magic is almost like, I would describe it as more detailed architecture to a manifestation. And, directing things that are even more laser focused than, I want money, or I want a charmed life, and all these things materialize instantaneously because you are the field. So a thought has a rippling effect into the field. Thought, feeling, and emotion. So if you're more detailed, then you can be more specific about where it goes, what it goes, how it goes.
Yeah. It's just saying, like, I want money, and then, you walk down the street and there's a quarter on the floor. It's like,
that's money.
That's money. You manifest.
Well, I was thinking more about, well, don't think about it, say it.
Yeah, that was your manifestation.
I mean, it was a manifestation, but it's like, okay, if you're not specific, the Tao's going to just sort of scrape up as quickly as possible what is necessary to materialize your reality.
Right.
So, being detailed, which is what magic is about, excuse me, makes it so much more powerful.
Yeah. And to the individual as well. Because like your definition of a lot of money to my definition of a lot of money are two different things.
Yeah. Yeah, without question.
So it has to be specific to, whatever. I want to go on an amazing vacation. That for me might be something totally different than whatever you want to manifest that is.
Right. And, you go into deeper things where, people get all kind of spooked at the architecture of things, or when you're doing a distance healing, what does that really mean, and how do you transfer it? I mean, the Hollywood voodoo stuff is very tangible, yet, I can always promise you, if you go down the route of low vibrational energies and, using that to impede someone's, transformation or emission into the field, it always ripples back to you. So you're operating in a duality. If you even, entertain the construct of low vibrational energy, low vibrational, magic that would be alternative to the pure source stuff that we're talking about, you are leaning upon things that will ultimately come back in your lap. And that all has to do with how you perceive your reality. Your need to think lower creates lower that ripples out and returns to you with the same frequency, vibration, and energy as it started as.
Right. I mean, that's I guess you could people classify it as black magic versus, higher intention magic or healing or something with a more of a selfless kind of intention versus a, strictly personal gain or I want this bad thing to happen to this person because, they did this to me and.
And I mean, just to decipher your own messaging, you can see it's your ego, personality, as we like to put it, calling the shots. And of course, that doesn't transcribe or transmute into anything of great higher resonation. You will, it kind of doesn't get off the ground. It's kind of, you put out weak, you receive weak. You put out strong, you receive strong. And to obtain that higher frequency that is all-knowing and all-powerful, that is a higher vibration. It's not, it's expansive, it's healing, it's whole. And so if you're going to be compartmentalized and limited by this low vibration energy, you will, it's kind of like, you will replicate that, and that will be realized depending upon how deep your fear is. Because just the idea for someone to travel to the page of looking to put out, black magic, they have to be in that state that would be of a low vibration. And because of that, it just returns back to them, and normally tenfold. Because they're believing in this stuff. And you are me, I am you. So that would be redundant. The idea, someone wanting to think or do, bad things to others, it only returns to yourself. Does this make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the construct of your reality. And so once you step past the duality stuff, you're one with all, so you magnify this higher frequency that just continues to ripple. So what may happen as a moment of serendipity, coincidence, great things, becomes replicated as, every second of every minute of every hour is just one greater event after another, one more profound moment. That's what happens.
Absolutely. And you can see too these whether you've had a personal experience or something where someone holds that kind of grudge or that anger, that revenge, it almost always materializes within themselves as, some type of physicality, physical ailment, something like that versus somebody else. And then, ultimately we always talk about everything as a story. And 90% of the stories aren't even true. They're whatever you've created in your mind. And then we get down to that, oh, I've never liked this person because, they did this to me. And you go, you did this to me. And they go, no, I didn't. That was never my intention, or I never did it. I had no idea you were there. I had no idea that even affected you. And you're like, wait, I've spent all this time, all this energy, all this effort focused on this event that has done nothing but plague me. And ultimately I find out it's not even true.
Right. Always remember when simulating things of this nature, there are 3 elements that are necessary that you need to be aware of that will drain your physical energy. First is you have to have that thought that aligns with the feeling and then emotion. Now, if these are replicated within the duality, you have a problem, Houston. And so what happens is you are now drawing from your life force. So when you put out a negative thought that is intention as a seed for destruction of a place, person, or a thing, it's realized as a literal cord that attaches you to that very moment that is then drained from you. So every time someone engages with that energy, equal to or greater than, it draws from your field. You're not being expansive, being contractive. And then, of course, it becomes exhausting. And you'll be able to identify with that as a moment like, oh my goodness, that person is exhausting. I went into the room and all I did was ask them, how are you? And they were like, well, I'm having a really bad day. And you know what? And so what happens is, as you engage with that, and because you are fear-based, this is another thing. If you lead with fear, fear is the seed of destruction because it's the perfect catalyst for incoherence. And so that draws from your field, which is directly connected to your kidney channel. That kidney channel will continue to draw from your Jing. This is part of the Taoist model of understanding. Your Jing is your constitution. So the more fear you bring, the more energy you drain, the more you realize you are in lack of, which ultimately exhausts you mentally, emotionally, and physically. Blammo.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just talking to our kids about fear today and how powerful it is to use it. And I was giving them this example and I said, you like to drink apple juice. And I said, apple juice is just apple juice. I said, but if I took apple juice and I told you, if you drink it, your insides will fall out, everything you'll vomit everywhere, everything will start coming out, your hair will fall out and all these terrible physical things. I said, how would you look at apple juice if I implanted that thought into your head now? And my son's like, oh, I don't want to drink it. And it's like, it's not so much the subject of what it is, but that addition of fear added onto it, or that thought of fear, just like people have, phobias of flying or spiders or heights, that's a really popular one, small spaces. It's not so much that environment, it's that idea of fear kind of dropped on top of it that all of a sudden completely changes the construct. And the phobia then exists.
Well, it's the envelopment. Right?
The envelopment. And the same goes for the reversal of it. The removal of fear then just puts it into, it's just a normal airplane. It's just a normal bug. It's just a normal space.
Right.
When you remove that energy. But it is such a powerful construct. And when you really learn how to harness it, amazing things can start to really come to light and be who they really are without that kind of overshadowing cloud.
Yeah, I mean, you understanding that moreover, more recently, it's not just conceptual or you feel it from an energetic perspective, that when you capture an emotion, it has a rippling effect that produces a specific peptide that attaches to that and becomes a catalyst within your physical body on a neural network level. And so when you realize this and you're able to rattle the cage or shake the tree, as you would say, removing that emotion from the neurology of your physical body, it's realized through emission of urine, breath. You will actually feel, taste the release of these emotions that were attached from a peptide level. A peptide is being produced that attaches it to your neurology, your physical body. And once that's released through an expansion or an evoking of that emotion and then a release of it, it will transmit through the physical body. It's not just the idea of, I'm feeling this thing. No, it's attached to your neurology. It's attached to your soft technology that is your physical body. And then it is realized into an expelling of that as you resonate at a higher frequency. How do you do that? Well, what an interesting question. How do you do that? Well, first of all, creating synchronicity. And of itself, when you synchronize the heart and the brain, you evoke this release of this particular peptide that's attached on a cellular level, and it then returned back through the blood, out through the urine, through the breath, expelled from the body, and it's no longer going to transmute into a physical ailment. These are part of the power that you have with this higher ancient soft technology that you have as a physical body. Everything has a way to acclimate to a higher frequency. It's self-regulating. That self-regulation between the heart and the brain, synchronizing that frequency that syncs with the earth and the universe realized as a whole, is so powerful. And understanding that, so the catalyst of these emotions are all being transmuted into peptides attached to the cells. This is how you rid yourself of something that could be a hindrance, an albatross within your physical body. And then it is transmuted into an alchemical response that is expelled from the physical body, never to be returned. If left there dormant and not being realized, as we always talk about, how the physical is affected by the emotional and then is realized by the spiritual, you can have a rippling effect from lower to higher. So all these things within a physical body, and this limitation that people have, they tend to look to certain sort of like realizations within the physical body, that there's a certain way to transmute or translate an energetic charge by having it realized through to your ascension. You can ascend in consciousness in a fraction of a second. You do not need it to be this long, ongoing thing where you have to move through the energetic body to realize your highest level or spiritual expression. That is a fallacy, yet it seems to be continually practiced or trained in, that this is the only way you evoke this energetic body at a higher level. This is a misconception. Understand that your realization of your spiritual self, your mental, emotional self, your energetic self, your physical self can be like that. You don't need to go through a certain stage of events. Now, Taoists have these ancient practices that we realize within internal alchemy to cultivate the energy. So you're the master, the maestro, master keeper, creator of your reality, being able to maestro those 50 trillion cells and move the energy in any direction you want at will, at any moment, at any time, at any place, with your attention and intention. That is a power, that is mastery, that to realize that it could be a second, because that shift, the most important thing, I was talking to one of my students, it's like, realize that the only thing that's stopping you is you. So you being able to determine or discern what it is comes down to the feeling. And the feeling can be realized instantaneously. People always freak out, say, how could you read my, how do you know I'm feeling this, I'm thinking this, da da da. It's in your field. It's there. All the information is all knowing. It's all present. The question is, the more in tune you become, your sensory perception, the easier it gets. And that's an in training. What?
Oh no, I was just laughing because I remember this one time I went to Disneyland and my sister got her name embroidered on her hat. And we were walking around and this woman goes up to her and goes, hi, Rachel, how are you? And like her face went white because she'd like never seen this person. It was just someone working at the store. And she literally, and then like walked away. And then she was like, I have to know, how did that woman know my name? And it was like, and she's like, how do you know my name? Like, we're just visiting. And she's like, oh, it says it on your hat. And like, my sister totally forgot she had the little Mickey Mouse ears with her name embroidered. And that's kind of how it is. It just made me think of people. It's like all the energy is literally sitting right there, just waiting for someone to see it. You can even see it with the right amount of skills. So it's like when you look at it and you're like, oh, you're this. And they're like, oh, how do you know that? And it's like, it's just as simple as like your name written across and you just go, hello, how are you? And for people who have trained in it and have the ability to see it, it is almost so simple that it's like dumbfounding, but then when you realize it, you're like, wow.
And that sensory perception just comes with training. And we all have the same neurology. We all have the same five senses we start with. Now, where you get to your level of consciousness, the amount of the sensory perception is limited by your imagination. And so that's endless. That could be infinite. That's up to you and what you can think of. How do I want? What kind of superpowers am I looking for today? That's the simplicity of it. And so the feeling is how you validate it within you. Your physical body is the validator, the barometer, the tuning fork that makes it real to you. And then you're able to step away from this incessant overthinking of things. And because you don't have a clear dialogue with a higher source, you're conflicted. So you get these feelings, yet your mind that you believe is your mind, your brain, however you want to perceive it, the tuning fork, the projector, is giving you all these scenarios, and then you keep going over it like a rat in a wheel, which keeps you away from that higher consciousness and that gamma brainwave. When you feel it through your physical body, you evoke the gamma brainwave that gives you access to alpha and theta instantaneously and epsilon delta all at once. That's right, all at once. You're able to access all these brainwaves at once, which emit a certain frequency level that puts you in a state of blammo time. And the gamma goes a hyper gamma, lambda, hyper lambda. The higher the frequency, the hertz frequency from the brainwave, the more powerful the surge of realization. And that's just the training. You will feel everything. And that's the whole point of mastering yourself, so that you can feel it and then validate it. If you're not getting true source information, you can validate the state you're in and accept that as true. And as you develop your clairsenses, you will be able to hear the audio. You will be able to validate what's coming from your truth teller, what's coming from the field, what's coming from a spirit, what's coming from all the high frequencies beyond that, higher or lower. That's the power of it.
Absolutely.
And, when I do the Latsu, or I channel any of my teachers, it's like there's a present shift, and people describe it as, I felt the entry of this energy into the space before you even said it, because the neurology that I'm experiencing is engulfing my physical body, having a registered effect on your physical body, because we are interconnected, and you're able to literally tap in to an advanced viewing of something that's about to take place. That's why it's like, holy crap, I'm feeling this before it even happens. I feel the amplitude, the oscillating, the resonation of this, the reverberating. It's happening, and then he says, and they enters the room, and then you get this experience like you're having right now. This is what takes place. And so the neurology is key, all these sensory perceptions. But when you evoke an emotion, that peptide instantly is produced and then attached to you on a cellular level. To release that, you have to create something equal to or greater than. And that's where we look at, most people are like, oh, it's the trauma. If you do progressive, regressive, shmashmash, balashish, la 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 la, you're going to have it realized. Understand that it doesn't matter what trauma it is, or as you conceive it as a trauma. It's a thought, feeling, and emotion that's attached. It creates that peptide on a physiological level. It's attached to you, your neurology, right, on a cellular level. And then for it to be released, you will actually feel the letting, the energy letting, the deflation of that energy as it disperses from your physical body, and you will physically also have a visible response from your breath, from your urine, expelled from you physically as well as energetically. And then ultimately your resonation will be so much higher on that frequency that your spiritual body expands, rippling into the very space that you're in and beyond, and then all people will be aware of that.
Yeah, and that's why we always say too, especially like when we do really big healings or work with anybody individually like that on a healing, it's like allow up to 72 hours for you to really
adjust.
adjust.
It's like you're
because it
adjusting the
is.
contrast and the sharpness of your picture. It's going to take that long to regulate your new level of ascension, your new level of consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah, and some people will say like, oh, after I had a healing, like I vomited, or I had like physical changes, like I had lots of sweats, or different stuff they just noticed on a physical
Right,
basis, and it was like, yeah, that's all. It's all just being released. It's all being let out. This kind of purge, even though maybe the healing was an energetic healing, you're going to feel it on a physical level.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you get that, oh, I feel so much lighter. Oh, that's such a burden off my chest, or weight off my shoulders.
Yeah, I want to speak on something where people have this parameter and preset notion where they have to ward you off a fear of energetic energetic awakening. And so, is there something behind, when people talk about Kundalini, which is just a particular practice that evokes a lot of the Jade Emperor's Palace, which is the entry point for Taoists in your lower back area, around the kidneys, the sacrum. This is an evoking of this incredible celestial power that's within you, and that is realized, and most people will describe it as this rippling effect up your spine, which we call the Taiji pole, and then it enters your brain and envelops the pineal gland, having a what the fuck moment. And there is nothing to be afraid of. People are like, you need to be very concerned, and it's serious. You might have an episode. Understand that if you're framing your reality out that way, let's talk about this more, as we've spoken over and over and over about this on this channel. Your reality is a perception of all things created by you. So that means that if you say that fear is the base of all things, and that you operate in a duality that we repeat over and over again, then this is what will transpire. This is what will be created. So if you're in fear of something, or you need to be concerned, if you do this, you're going to have a psychotic episode or whatever, of course that's going to be materialized now, isn't it? Because you are the master keeper creator of your reality. You are just creating the parameters of what you want to experience, and then it's being realized within your consciousness. Understand, it's all energy. It's all a part of you. There is absolutely zero reason to be afraid of anything. And so when you're evoking the Jade Emperor's Palace, and it materializes within this celestial lavender, phosphorus, celestial purple color that then oscillates, and it sort of percolates. It's like a freaking one of those fireflies in a
Jar.
a luminous jar, right? And this is a contained energy. Then when it's realized through the Jade Emperor's Palace, which is your consciousness from the constitutional baseline that you entered this world with, it erupts into a rippling effect, and it shoots off like a rocket through your Taiji pole, entering the gates of heaven, which is realized through the three treasures, which is the pineal, pituitary, and thalamus, and it evokes the chemical response, which is what we would define as the DMT, and it lasts for a long time. Now, a external chemically induced DMT experience may last a couple of minutes, maybe 20 minutes at the most. When this is realized from the chemical fun factory within you, this can go on as long as you create the script or the imagination that goes with it. So once it hits that pineal, pituitary, and thalamus, the pineal oscillates those crystals, and all of a sudden the projector that we talk about is playing the movie of your wildest imagination, and it's realized vivid in full color, HD, Dolby surround sound, Dolby Atmos, 3D sound, realized instantaneously. And so then you have a whole new awakening for the power that's harnessed within you. Your Shen is instantly projected. That means that you have direct access to your spirit body, that you can move in and out of your physical body at will. And because there's a trailing access to the two, even if you're out of your physical body, because you can replicate at will the Shen, what does that mean? It means that you can have infinite duplicates of yourself. So, a lot of people talk about OBE, where you have to be out of your body to experience, a higher level of ascension, a consciousness that is equivalent to accessing, dimensions beyond the third and fourth dimension that we are in. And once you train in this, your spirit projection evoked from this erupting of the Jade Emperor's palace is realized within the blossoming. Because what happens is that celestial energy is realized because it's always been there. It's just part of the transmutation of your eternal immortal self in this physical body. It's within everybody. When you evoke that, and these people call it Kundalini, this is a celestial, we call it as a Taoist, this celestial rising of the transformation of the sacred infinite gardens, the sacred infinite flower, and then ultimately your transmutation of your celestial self, your Shen, that's instantly being projected through the three treasures as you open the heaven's gate and the heaven's doorway, the byway, and that energetic charge that you're receiving right now is that power of that realization. Oh, yeah. What?
Oh, I was going to say, for anyone who doesn't know, what is Kundalini?
Well, Kundalini is something that's more commonly known. It's like the stirring of this internal energy that's stored at the base of your sacrum, which is the bottom of your tailbone, below your lumbar, on your physical spine. This is what they call an entry point, the Kundalini experience. Well, we call it the celestial rising. It's a whole different thing, yet the energy is encapsulated, and then it's liberated. When you liberate that, there is an absolute fundamental shift because you're switching on the lights, right? And generally speaking, we do this within the construct of certain practices, microcosmic orbit being one of them, and you turn on all the lights within...
Or our app.
And especially the Way 126. Mm-hmm. It will evoke this, but there's nothing to be fearful of. It's energy. You're made from energy. Everything is energy, frequency, vibration. So you're evoking that. You want to bathe your pineal gland all day, every day, evoking those crystals, which is, more commonly identified within certain indigenous practices as the pine cone, the oscillator, the projector. And, this is within Taoism. It evokes a specific energy combination of the three pure ones. And this particular oscillator is evoking the Ryu that is identified as the pineal gland. And that evokes the three incredible treasures, the diamond, the ruby, and the emerald, which start to oscillate. And they create and multiply a form that would look very reminiscent of a pine cone, which in most ancient indigenous practices is referenced to the third eye. Now that is then enveloped into this magical Ryu, and the keeper of that is the inner secrets of the highest purity, Ling Bao, which is moreover the keeper of energy, magic, and all things perfection.
So in like the simplest terms, it's basically just a massive surge of energy, and a lot of people feel it in their head.
Well, it starts at the
specifically.
spine, and it runs up through your spine from your sacrum, your pelvis, your tailbone, all the way up your spine to your brain. And that's when it's 4th of July, baby. And there is nothing, it's incredible. And so when people speak on, oh, I went on a mushroom retreat, I went on ayahuasca, I went on this, I went on that, that's within you. Save yourself some money on the $4,000 retreat and let the Taoist secrets be revealed to you and evoke it, because there's nothing like it, because you're going to get a taste of this very limited external experience, whether you're taking acid, whether you're taking GMB, whether you're taking MDA, whether you're taking ayahuasca, whether you're taking DMT, whether you're taking any type of hallucinogenic substance. Nothing is more powerful than the stuff you can create yourself, and you can make it last as long as you want. Most of these people talk about it, I get people going, oh, I had a DMT experience that lasted 20 minutes. And then when I did it with you, it never stopped. That's right, because you have control over it. Once you turn that switch on, you can turn it on and off at will, evoking that by being the master of those 50 trillion cells and activating those energies. And that's really where you want to be. You want to have complete control over this. Most people are like, oh, whatever happens, happens. No. The more laser focused you are about being able to transmit the energy however you want, whenever you want, wherever you want, manifestation, magic, healing takes place instantaneously.
Right. And you're no longer going, oh, I just got fired from my job, but my next retreat isn't for 2 months. And now what am I going to do for 2 months? I'm so stressed out about it. I need it now. I need it. I have real world stuff I want to deal with right now. I want to tap into that instantly. I don't have time to wait until the summertime when it comes about again, or the next quarter or whatever.
Right, right.
You want instant access.
Right.
And you have instant access.
Yes. 1,000%. Realize instantly. There's a power within. You have it. You have the ability.
Yeah. And getting back to the whole fear thing, it's like being afraid to like use your legs. Like they're created there for a reason, to be able to use them, to be able to master them, to be able to excel at them, to be able to, create whatever you want, cartwheels, backflips, jumps, tricks, riding a bike, driving a car, whatever. They're there built into your neurology for you to use. And energy and that all those feelings are no different. Now it's just activating it and letting go of that kind of, I've never felt this before, so I instantly go, oh, it's bad. I've never felt this before. Right. No, it's just something you've never felt before. Right. It's not like, people don't look at like a first kiss and go, oh my God, it's horrible. A first kiss. I don't ever want to do that. I've never felt it before. It's like, no, you've just never experienced it before. And then when you do experience it, it's like, ooh, okay, now I can start imagining all these other incredible things. But it doesn't have to be based in fear.
Well, the fear is really important to understand, that you pause for a second, and that's in the construct of a limitation. Whoever's giving you that information, stop, reset, perceive what's happening, because we remind you the levels of consciousness are concept, consciousness, knowing, unconscious knowing, and then being one with all, which is the ultimate and all things. Then the rippling effects is just like the fractal pattern. One event turns into another, turns into another, turns into another, making this serendipity, this synchronicity, this coincidence that is never ending, this purity, this power that you access instantaneously. This is part of it. If you come from a place of fear, you do not come from a place of knowing. If you come from a place of fear, you do not come from a place of manifestation. If you come from a place of fear, you do not come from a place of healing. Understand that. That should be the first thing that you're able to go, stop. Whoever's giving me this information is attempting to limit me in my perception of my reality. That's the first thing they're doing. They want to limit me. Their idea is to limit me because they've staged it in fear. The first thing that is registered, and fear is an emotion which creates incoherence. You will always be there as an incoherent state, which will be making you very limited, which will then, of course, diffuse and, create a lower vibration instead of a higher vibration when it comes to manifestation, healing, magic. And so you want that to be at the highest frequency. And to create coherence becomes content, wholeness, acceptance. That is part of the very essence, the secret source that's necessary. Once you accept, there's a cathartic expansion that comes with it. And so that is what you need to envelop the brain with this frequency. And it's like a dominoes effect. Once you hit the heart, it hits the brain, the gut, bam. You'll realize there's the field. And that brain wave, that gamma brain wave, that frequency of 40 hertz plus gives you the ability to connect as the field. And healing will be instant. Manifestation will be instant. Healing will be instant. Magic will be instant. All you have to do is, like anything else, everything has a frequency. Everything has an energy. Everything has a vibration. There are no exceptions to that. And anyone that sells you on fear within your own body, remember, the Tao has given you perfection. So process that for a minute. If I'm perfection, what am I afraid of that's within me? Nothing. It's just like, oh my goodness, well, you need to be concerned and you need someone else to tell you what you need to know is true or not true. It's all within you. If it's within you, it was designed to be a part of you. It's not something that's going to have a counter effect. So anyone that tells you you have to be concerned that this energy is going to evoke some type of psychotic episode is a fear-mongering. And understand that, and you'll realize that I don't want to operate in a duality. The duality limits me. The duality puts a guardrail on me. Duality gives me a border, a boundary, a limiting operational standpoint. When you are whole, when you're not doing with yin-yang, up and down, in and out, and you go up that mountain to that peak and you realize there's a hold, which is Taoism, Wu Wei, effortless action, effortless effort, the flow as we know it, Wu Ji, the silence between the yin and yang, the breath in and breath out, that is pure source. Fearing yourself is redundant. So if you've been given perfection, you've got the manual. The default is, what are you? You're afraid of yourself? Process that for a minute. You're afraid of yourself. There's nothing that you can create within your physical body that you need to be concerned about. It's what you take externally, if you operate on a duality, that could be questionable because you're creating that construct because it comes from your belief system. That's all. Simple as that. That anything you generate internally, that is from your very source, the very essence, the very flesh and blood that is realized here as your physical body, that's pure source, baby. It's all yours. Never to be controlled, never to be limited, ever. Understand that, know that to be true.
Limitless.
Limitless is the new pink.
Mm-hmm. It's what we are.
Right. and understanding that power. So it's kind of like the tuning of these things and understanding the mechanisms, because you can never ever have too much energy. You know, I work with people 20 years and they're still like, just when I thought there was just a max, and it just gets greater, because the Tao is abundant, timeless, endless, limitless, infinite. The truth to everything. No end, no beginning. So with that said, that's what the effect is.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a lot for people to kind of take the simplicity of what we're speaking of and wrap it around the complexity that they've created, and realize that, you know, you are limitless, you are infinite, you are abundant, you are timeless, you are, you know, all of these amazing things. And now it's just bringing you back to that.
100. That's how it works. And it all starts as a thought, feeling, and emotion. And you realize that. So, knowing that parameters are none. And anyone that gives you that is attempting to control your mind. Understand that. When someone starts with anything fear-based, they're attempting to control the very thought process that you have about how you perceive your reality, and it must be limited. That's why they're starting with the fear. They are attempting to control your mind. Know that to be true. What does that mean? It means that literally exactly what I said it means. It means that if you have someone who's coming from a fear-based concept and they're attempting to sell it to you as your reality, they're looking to control you. Don't do that. Oh, this might happen. That'll happen. This'll happen. That'll happen. Don't think that. Oh, if you experience that. No. It's now your time to let your truth teller speak the volumes. Your truth teller realize the whole scenario as whole.
Mm-hmm. And have that feeling, that ultimate knowing of who you are and where you're going.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. 100.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we kind of framed that out. We went over, understanding the parameters of your abilities, which are none. Understanding if you have parameters, then you're coming from a place of fear. Fear realizes within chemistry, creates peptides that attach to your very cells, your neurological hardware, that is your soft technology, that is you in your physical body. And that can be materialized through releasing that stagnant energy, and of course it can be transmitted as through your urine, your fecal matter, your taste, what you emit from your breath. You will taste this energy that's stagnated, it's metallic in nature, and that will be realized as it's expelled from you, and you evoke it on that energetic level. Once you create that coherence, it oscillates at the perfect vibration that dispels anything else in its place. Any lower vibrational stuff will just dissolve, and then it's transmitted through that physical body. And so you have this fear of the Kundalini experience. Well, that's a myth. Understanding that all processes lead you back to the same thing. You use your intention to generate whatever it is. But if your belief system is steeped in duality, then karma will not be your best friend, but it will be realized through very limited events that could be transmitted or translated as negative in their nature due to your duality perception. And that transpires into your very experience. So think a thought, any thought, good, bad, that will materialize into the field equal to or greater than. Simple as that. That's how you create That's what you create. Good, bad, or indifferent. Good, bad, or ugly.
It's kind of like, have you ever seen it where a dog is like, they come to a point where like the flooring will change either from like carpet to hardwood floor or like tile to hardwood floor or something for the first time, and there's just the line on the floor of it changing, but it's like there's like an invisible fence until the first time they've like stepped on it, and then they're like, oh, okay, but they don't know what it is, and they're like, I won't go past it. I won't go past it. I'll literally stop, inches before, because I'm like, what is it? What is it? What is it? And then, if you pick up your dog or whatever and you put them on and they realize, oh, it's just a different feeling, and then they'll do it. But again, this same kind of construct, it's like there's nothing preventing you from doing it but the idea or the limitation in your mind. And then once you kind of put that one foot forward and go, oh, this is just what it is. Why I, in my head, created this completely invisible wall that I didn't think I could get through, even though there's nothing there at all. It's just my perception. Once I shift that, I can run up, down, all the way around.
And that's, limited by nothing. You're limited by nothing.
Absolutely.
And just in removing the emotion and the feeling gives you wisdom. That thought then is a memory that can be recalled on as an aspiring moment of realization, growth. But if you continue to attach it to an emotion and a feeling, of course, it will be your stagnation, your roadblock, and it will be very limiting. That's the key, is to realize that all things know and all things. And so the Kundalini experience is sort of like predicated on the stirring of the celestial energy within the Jade Emperor's palace, which is basically, the entry point of your constitution, your kidneys, your sacrum. That sacred celestial energy is then stirred up and realized. Now, we will do a respiration exercise, as we always do, which will start to cultivate that energy, which is just like a, hello, here I am. Hello, again. And so you will start to understand that sensory perception. So evoking that stimulation will lead to, the liberation of that Ryu, the particular jewels and crystals. Realize that higher point projection of your Shen, that will become evident. But let's just say today we're just going to stir that up. It's like a hairdryer effect that you're going to experience just through your respiration. And so it's kind of like the looping effect of this particular respiration is interesting, because we have thousands of them. But you're going to inhale like the energy into your mouth. It's not going to go down to your lungs. You're going to inhale it into your mouth, and then you're going to swallow it. And then it's going to drip down into the lower dantian. And then we're going to do this like 9 times. You're going to have this really weird effect, because you're not pushing it as you would normally with this particular respiration. This is another different technique, as we have thousands, but this has lent a lot more on the primordial embryonic breathing that we speak of. So embryonic breathing is basically breathing from the whole physical body. You're not breathing as a traditional physical respiratory response that you would through your nose and your mouth. You're breathing from your whole being, and that will be materialized. This particular breath is an interesting one. And you will find that you may need to release through your nasal passages, I would suggest you gulp it, hold it, and then release through your mouth, not your nose. So it's like a... and it will start to create a density within the lower dantian. And that will sort of transmute into what we call the Jade Emperor's Palace, and it will start to rustle up that celestial energy, that phosphorus, lavender, royal purple energy that we speak of. And then this will then turn into a sensory perception, and you'll start to realize, oh my goodness, what's going on here? And through your breath, after we do this exercise 9 times, you'll be able to sort of breathe in and out through that sacrum area, that lower area in the base of your spine, which is like your tailbone. You'll feel it. It'll be like an expansive sort of amber of a cigarette and a heat, which is generally just kind of like happening to you right now. And you're like, hang on a second, what? We haven't done anything yet. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm just explaining it to you, and that's sort of a build-up, So let's go over one sample before we then repeat the whole exercise. So we're going to sort of like inhale, gulp the energy down. Now, I would, again, recommend to, as you expel through your mouth. So, and then that energy is then going to go down into the lower dantian and start to fill. So it's, and you can feel it lower as it lowers down. And so we're going to do that 9 times. And on the last one, you're then going to hold it for 9. And then what's going to happen, generally speaking, I'm not going to, it will blossom into this phosphorus sort of, lavender color that will be realized with your eyes open or closed. And, I can talk about it now, and that heat is starting to generate. It's like a hair dryer that's taken place, all right? So this is a very interesting sort of hybrid breathing pattern. So it's like a gulp in with your mouth, and it's like literally like a lump of energy that sort of goes down into the lower dantian. So we're going to do that 9 times. On the 9th time, you're then going to hold once the last drop in, and then it's a 9 count, and then you release. Okay? And that will really have a fundamental build-up. And then you'll be able to notice through your respiration that you can start to manipulate and palpate that energy as it's more concentrated. Okay, so let's try it for the first one. So I need everyone to realize you can keep going as Jade is, that there's no max, okay? So as you can identify with on your sensory perception, you're starting to fill up. That's completely fine. This is like a chi packing process. Another one. Again. I think this is the last one. Hold it. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Now that you're getting a handle, guys, you little Harry Potter alchemists, I want you to just let your breath now start to palpate that energy as it's oscillating right there. Right there, that celestial energy is being evoked, and the color is getting clearer and clearer from your, sacrum, the Jade Emperor's Palace, the lower dantian, as it oscillates, that concentration of energy. Oh my goodness. Now you can bring your attention to just your respiration. You can breathe in through your nose and feel the pull of that energy as it's attempting to be drawn up your Tai Chi pole, or you can feel it as you draw in with your mouth. Just that hair dryer, that saturation of heat that you're experiencing through your cellular body, and it's all concentrated around that Jade Emperor's Palace. That sense that celestial energy is now oscillating, and the color is getting brighter. That lavender color is a phosphorus, royal celestial purple color. Beautiful. My goodness. As you are evoking what is heaven on earth being realized within your physical body, and just your respiration is palpating it. So just for fun, I'll have you draw in through your nose, and you can start to feel it coming up your spine. And then release. And you can sort of sip on it as if you're sipping from a straw, and it's like a barometer of like temperature rising as it rises up your Tai Chi pole, your spine, and it gets a little bit closer to, what we call Heaven's Gate, or more realized as that Ryu with those oscillating crystals, that ultimate multiplier of that celestial power realized. Try it again, draw in. No, it's getting a little closer, yeah. Now that palpation of that energy can be even more strengthened. Now, notice the difference when you draw in through your mouth. It's coming up a little easier. It's sort of like, ooh, and then the barometer will go back down. The energy will start to set. Why don't we do it again through the mouth? Now, you can expel this and draw it up through your mouth into your pineal gland. You can go up to the Heaven's Gate, right out to that Ryu. So this next one, I'm going to get you to draw the energy up the Tai Chi pole and expel it through the Heaven's Gate into the Ryu. And you're ready. Inhale with your mouth. Exhale through the Ryu. And you'll start to feel that oscillate through the third eye. Oh, yeah. And then let's just make it ripple a little bit more. And we're going to do one more, only this time you're going to draw it up, exhale through the Ryu, the pineal gland, and then you're going to hold it for 9. And that concentration is going to blossom into this mercury silver platinum color flower. And when you're ready, inhale, exhale through the Ryu. Hold it. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Oh my goodness. Now you're starting to evoke that upper Dantian energy, opening up the Ryu and evoking the Shen. Oh yeah. Now I'm just going to concentrate that energy in your pineal gland. I'm going to turn it over as it becomes brighter and brighter and brighter, evoking that expansion. Oh yeah. Even more. And you will feel the pulsation of that, all these sensations as if things are moving in your head, because they are. All the blood flow, all the energy is being generated. This is not a chemical response. This is an electric response. This is all energy, baby. And I'm going to leave you with that. Just as we've opened up that transmission between the Heaven's Gate and the Jade Emperor's Palace, and that celestial energy is being evoked, and now it has entered the Ryu and being realized as that chemical fun factory. And the more you put your attention, intention right to that point, and you say you want to focus on it, of course the light will get blinding if your eyes closed, eyes open. It's that pure phosphorus divine white light of the Tao, my friends, being realized. I'll let you sit with that revelation, that evoking. I will thank my divine delectable co-host Jade as she experiences another level up consciousness and awakening. And I am your humble servant and seafood Taoist Master San Qing, and I will see you on the next one, guys.